Producers are making beats in 10 minutes and those beats become hit songs. It's crazy. It's clear that producers really just aren't doing anything. They're lazy. Beats don't matter anymore. Any old beat can become a hit song. It doesn't even matter who's making it. That's an objective fact. Or I'm just being sarcastic again, like I have been in the past 4 or 5 video intros I've made. The last couple producers I interviewed, including Bolo and Doc Jam, created hit songs, and what they told me, and you can see in the interviews, is that they made those beats within 10 minutes. And what I often see from artists who make the argument that producers don't matter and that they shouldn't be paying producers for beats is that, well, why should I be paying for a beat when the producer just threw it together in 10 or 15 minutes? What a conversation, right? All right, so I brought it up with Dame and Aaron. They shared their thoughts, and we also have, thanks to producer culture, some clips from both Timbaland and Jetson Made It. So hopefully producers can get out of their heads when it comes to all of these restrictions and limitations and criteria that we impose onto our own creative process that just make us miserable. Thank you for tuning in to the new podcast. If you don't know where to find all of our new podcast episodes on one channel, the link is in the description. Thank you so much. I recently interviewed Bolo, the producer. You know, he revealed that a Diamond song that he produced, Silent Hills Watch Me, which everyone knows about. I'm sure you do, Aaron, because you were in Atlanta when that dropped. He revealed that it only took him crazy. He revealed the beat took him 10 minutes to make, and the overall song took them 45 minutes to put together. And it wasn't because, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, here we go. We're now at the point where people just don't care. They're just trying to shit beats out. It's like, listen, man. Number one was, and I feel someone left a comment on my YouTube today. I feel like what's understood doesn't need to be explained, but it's people don't understand. When you sit down in front of an instrument or a DAW or a microphone, you are not coming up with something out of nowhere. You are drawing on your experience up to that point. So maybe that's 10 years of experience. So you are actually making your song in 10 years and 10 minutes, not just 10 minutes. In Bolo and Silent Hill situation, they were just running out of studio time. So they only had 45 minutes. And that hit song allowed him to retire early. So producers in the comment section were mad. And I think that anger mostly comes from a place of jealousy and bitterness from one's own lack of success. But there's also this other notion that more complexity and time invested in a beat automatically makes that beat better. You can look this up. You can look up songs, famous songs that were created in a short amount of time. And it's not just people love to just put this on modern music, especially rap. And that's why rap is trash today. Losing My Religion by R.E.M. was written in 10 minutes, apparently. Ray Charles wrote What I Say in 15 minutes. Charlie Puth wrote See You Again, which is also a Diamond single, one of probably his biggest song, right? Probably Wiz Khalifa's biggest song. He wrote that in 10 minutes. And I feel like people really sabotage themselves by thinking that, and I'm going through this right now with a producer, thinking that complexity or just nonstop additions and nonstop obsessing over a product is what makes it good. And clearly that's not true.
Yeah, I think it's really important what you're saying. Like, people are drawing from a decade, 5 years, 17 years worth of experience. I think it's a really cool story because that's like your back's against the wall. You're like, okay, I got to pull something out of this session. And who knows, they might have recorded 5, 6, 7, 8 other songs during that session that took a long time. And that's just the one that took off. I think I have to be careful with it because sometimes I tend to get down to the baseline and be like, oh, I gotta hurry up and do this thing. But I think a lot of times when you have a lot of parameters, boundaries, constraints, some of your best things come from that because you're just working with what you have. You're like, this is all I have. It's how I gotta figure it out. I was talking to my business partner, Brandon, 2 days ago because we have a summit in Austin coming up next weekend during MLK weekend. And I'm teaching a workshop on how to make money off of your ideas. And I was like, man, I was feeling like a fraud while I was like writing, because I'm doing a 90-minute workshop on it and I'm bringing up a couple of other experts. But I'm like, I was feeling like a fraud. And then I went and looked and was like, I haven't had a job in 6 years. Whatever, like, look at what you have and use that. The reason that it's not growing is because you're not using what you have. You're complaining about what you don't have.
Well, yeah, and people will say in the same breath, pressure makes diamonds, and then you say, okay, cool, let's do this fun like 30-minute beat challenge. What? I can't put my art in a box. Okay.
I remember when Hop recorded a song, because Hop was very against like mainstream, simple rap, stuff like that. And he made like a simple song as a joke. And that was the song. That was a song and that ended up doing like really, really well. It's not really about like how long something takes. It's how does it connect with people? Does it sound good? That's all people really care about. You shouldn't be a hater anyway. You shouldn't be hating on anybody's success because that's really only going to hold yourself back. But does it connect? Does it connect or not? And sometimes, especially here in the United States, there's a lot of very simple-minded people in the United States. A lot of dumb people. You can connect with people in various ways. Figure out your lane and what you want to do and, try to connect.
And connection doesn't have to always be exactly everything that you love. I think that there's like what you have for yourself and your people, and then it's what you have for the world. And that's something that I've had to learn is like not necessarily siloing myself or limiting myself, but understanding what like my public contribution is to the world and what I have and keep sacred for myself and for others. Similar to what Dame just said, I just want to comment on this and rest in peace, OG Maco, but he passed recently, and there's been a lot of people talking about, you guessed it, because of how quickly he made that song. Same thing. You guessed it, was made as a joke because he was like, I know that people are he's like, stupid people, I won't give his direct quote, but stupid people will like this song. And it blew up and it was his huge thing, but he never lost sight of that. People in Atlanta knew what it was, but people thought he was like a dummy or whatever. He was actually super intelligent and channeling what he understood about people. But then he took that, he was traveling globally, speaking about what he believed in, performing songs that really mattered to him. And then he would turn up. And it's like, people aren't just monolithic. Like you can have the turn up side, the goofy side, and then you can have the intellectual side. But I think sometimes, like Dame said, you take your art too seriously, or you think it's better than what it is. You take yourself too seriously. I think, just like chill out, like breathe a little bit and say, hey, like there's more to life than just me self-aggrandizing how important that I am to the world.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then let me ask you this, because there's a parallel narrative going on that I think is similar, but I see it all the time. And this narrative is less from the producer community, more from the recording artist community, that beats are the least important part of the process. And I always hear as justification for the small contingent of rappers that just have a religious hatred against buying beats or paying producers. They always say, oh, you just make this shit in 15 minutes anyway. You're replaceable. So my question is very quickly, maybe this is...
Hold on, Payne. Before we address that, like, is it artists that have like traction?
No, never.
Exactly. So that's the mindset of somebody that is not progressing.
Oh, no, absolutely. The problem is conversations seep into our subconscious. A lot of producers have, I know I do, that imposter syndrome creeps in. I just don't want that to happen. I think what happens is producers are often listening to music as producers, not consumers. And so that's a very different perspective. And so when we make beats that maybe this one took us 10 minutes, we feel a way about it. Maybe this one seems too simple, we feel a way about it. We try to hide it out. But my question is, can you think of a hit song or a song that people love that has a terrible beat on it? Because I had this conversation and people brought up three beats. One was The Motto for Drake. I don't know how they thought that was terrible, because that beat has tons of energy. You play that track, everyone skips around. Someone else said Single Ladies, and the producer, Tricky Stewart, hated that beat. He almost deleted it until The Dream heard it and was like, I hear something for it.
I could see Single Ladies.
The energy, though, there's a whole dance. So my thing is, and then someone else said Laffy Taffy. Laffy Taffy came up a lot. I'm like, okay, I understand that as a producer or a music connoisseur, you might listen to that beat and say, it's three notes, or Single
I
Ladies.
feel like most of Favo's music, you could say the beats are terrible, but he killed them, so.
My thing is, though, you couldn't put any beat under the Laffy Taffy lyrics and still get the success, the popularity, because the dance that came from that is 100% tied into the beat. So you might not love the melody, but there's something infectious that inspires people to move because of that beat. Same with Single Ladies. There's a whole dance to it. People say, oh, the Soulja Boy beat. How many tracks sounded just like that track, 5 years after it came out? People are still doing speed runs for that beat.
I don't like what we just did, though. Like, we gave credibility to an argument that doesn't even really exist amongst people that have any type of success. That's the internet for us, right? Like, I can go on the internet, and I think I said this before. I go on the internet and find every perspective, opinion under the sun, and I think people that want to lean in to a particular narrative, go searching for certain opinions, unearth them and act like they is a bigger entity than they really is. Like, they is really a small subsection of people, but since we highlight it now, now we can get people chiming in, but we're really only talking to like the people that have no traction. And obviously that's not what the MEC is about. Like, so I don't really want to lean into perspectives from people that don't have traction.
Let's end on this then, because I just want the imposter syndrome. But a lot of producers do feel this way before. And I'm sure songwriters feel that way too. I'd love to hear the perspectives from all the artists that I mentioned before that have nothing to do with rap, like REM and all them. And, even Axl Rose raised his ass. He can sing his ass off, though. He wrote Sweet Child of Mine really quickly. And so that's a classic rock song. Nothing to do with rap and us hip hoppers that just copy and paste it. So in the producer community, though, there is this narrative that, if it's not complex or if we don't like it, no one else is going to like it.
Hey, bro, that was probably one of my least favorite beats that I ever made. Hell yeah. Yeah. Like, if you go listen to Suge and then you go listen to some other beats I made, I don't even make beats like, bro, that's
And it's not just him.
And I might don't know. Like, cause I ain't like 1 Minute Man. I thought that beat was trash. Really? I ain't really care for it. Wow. I was about to throw it away. So how did y'all push through? Cause she was like, you crazy? She came and she heard, she's like, shit, baby. Right. But that was but everyone like get your freak on though. Get your freak on. I knew.
This is normal. I mean, artists talk about this all the time. Like, the song that they weren't going to put out now has 10 million streams. I hear that all the time when I interview artists on the Independent Living podcast. When we dive into some of their more successful songs, ask them like how it got so successful. I don't know. I wasn't even going to put that one out. It connects with people. I think the message here is like, shoot your shots. Shoot your shots. You just never know. Every time you put a piece of art out, you're giving yourself another raffle ticket, essentially. And you just never know when your number is going to get called. Shoot your shot.
And get out of your head. You don't know everything. You don't know what the consumer wants.
We don't even know everything. And we have this podcast.